If you go to the University of YouTube and type in the search bar Flat Earth Debunked, you'll see about 500,000 videos all on that subject of people debunking Flat Earth. You get characters such as Neil deGrasse Tyson, Joe Rogan, Bill Nye, to name just a few. Now type in the search bar Globe Earth Debunked and you'll get 250,000 hits. I'm not going to make a comment on why one is twice the amount of the other. We had 500,000 Flat Earth debunks and now we have 250,000 Globe Earth Debunked. You'll see titles there such as How to Debunk the Globe in Less Than 2 Minutes, Flat Earth. Debunking Top 10 Reasons Why We Know the Earth is Round by Rob Skiba. Birds debunk Globe Earth. The argument has been raging now for about 3 years and it doesn't seem to be going away. Nobody seems to be conceding or changing their opinions. It's a flat Earth or it's a globe Earth. The sort of details that are being argued over are perspective, refraction, lensing, Earth curve calculators, what is the sun and moon, the southern star trails, the 24-hour sun in the Antarctic summer, the integrity of NASA, ships over the horizon, the Coriolis effect, is the Bible geocentric or heliocentric, gravity, mirages, GoPro lenses, aircraft flying with the rotation of the Earth or against the Earth. But you know, nobody is shifting. I've not seen anybody concede and say, yes, I'm wrong about that, you're right. So which is it? I like to imagine that my conclusions are rational, logical and objective. But the debate is so polar opposite, please pardon the pun. Both can't be right. I'm well aware of all or maybe most of the arguments, but I know that one side is guilty of the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, of only looking at selective data that suits their bias and ignores the data that challenges their position. At this point in the video, I'm going to nail my colours to the mast and declare that I am a flat earther. I believe that the globe is wrong and that the heliocentric system is fundamentally flawed. If you wish to challenge this video and my conclusions, I will welcome that and I will engage with you, but only on my position that the Earth is observably flat. I'll repeat that just for emphasis. If you wish to challenge this video, I will welcome that. If you wish to challenge my conclusions, I will engage with you, but only on the position that the Earth is observably flat. I won't be getting bogged down with things like perspective or Earth curve calculators, ships over the horizon, any of that. That'll be for another video. This video is all about what I observe, what I believe is reality, that the Earth is observably flat. And before anybody calls out Texas sharpshooter fallacy, I will handle the points previously mentioned in future videos, but the punchline of this video is that the Earth is observably flat. If you wish to challenge me on that, I will welcome it, but I will ignore any other YouTube videos that you send me to unless you made the video yourself personally. This is an aerial picture of Belfast Lough. It's about 12 miles from the Belfast port out into the open sea. At the top of the image I've put a yellow pin and called it Whitehead Rocks. This is where I was standing. My camera was on a tripod at about 4 foot above sea level. The camera I was using was a Canon 6D, the Mark I. It has a full frame sensor and the lens I was using was a 200mm Sigma. Zooming further in this image, we've still got the Whitehead Rocks marked with a yellow pin. And going into the sea there from the shore, from those big 4 oil tanks, is a pipeline that goes into the centre of the lough where ships can come in and offload oil for the Kilroot power station. Prior to going down to the Whitehead Rocks, I took a vantage point of about 150 feet above sea level, and from there I could see most of the lough and the oil pipeline going into the centre. The pipeline is about a mile long, but with no observable curve in the structure. The town that you can see on the other side of the lough is about 6 miles away, and that's Bangor, County Down. Panning to the right and zooming in, way in the distance there of about 11 miles, you can see into the industrial heartland of Belfast. Just popping up out of the horizon, you can see a well-known landmark, the Harland and Wolff shipyard. Reaching up into the sky, the shipyard has 2 massive cranes, nicknamed Samson and Goliath. Over this stretch of water there is no perceivable curve. The lough is observably flat. Panning to the left from the same vantage point, I can see way in the distance Scotland. It's not very clear on this picture, but Scotland is about 25 miles away from this point. And again I have to point out that that sea is observably flat. There is no measurable or observable curve along the x-axis way in the distance where the horizon is. Going down to the rocks of Whitehead, as I have already said, I was about 4 foot above sea level with my camera on a tripod. I'm looking east, and as you can see on the horizon, towards the far left, there is a lighthouse, and a bit further over towards the right, there is an island, and there is land way in the distance. Going back to the aerial view map, we can see there the lighthouse is known as Lighthouse Island, and the island just to the right of that yacht is known as the Copeland Island. Now that we can clearly identify the lighthouse and the Copeland Island, we have 2 reference points. I can point my camera and zoom in between the islands, and I can also point my camera to the left of the lighthouse and draw a line of sight to the far land in the distance. I can also point my zoom camera to the right of the Copeland Island to see what's behind it in the distance too. Focusing in to Copeland Island, just to the left of it and way in the distance, you can see land. To make it clearer, I've cranked up the contrast and the levels in Photoshop just so that that land can be clearly seen as a hard line before it joins the sky. The land that I can see behind Copeland Island is the Isle of Man. It is 55 miles away from where I was standing, and I was 4 foot above sea level. 55 miles away. Take a look at that land, the Isle of Man. It is a substantial height. Copeland Island is 8 miles away. The land in the distance, the Isle of Man, is 55 miles away. Try and work out perspective here of what you know and what you've observed throughout your life, that in reality that is a substantial amount of height to the Isle of Man. Clearly from where my camera was to the Isle of Man, the earth is visibly, clearly and verifiably flat. Now let's focus in on the land that can be seen to the left of the lighthouse. Can you see in this picture that the lighthouse is about 60% across the page, and behind it there is visible land. That can only be clearly seen if I crank up the levels and the contrast in Photoshop. The land at the far left is Scotland, of about 35 miles away. But the land between Scotland and the lighthouse, way in the distance, is England, Cumbria, the Lake District, 95 miles away. The earth is clearly and visibly flat. Putting aside all the squabbling about earth curve calculators and ships going over the horizon, it is my personal opinion, and I've demonstrated through this video with my own photographs and my own observations, that the earth has no measurable curve. It is observably flat. I will welcome any comments on this, whether you agree with me or whether you disagree. As I said earlier on, I don't want you to send me to other YouTube videos to debunk this. I want you to explain in your words, in your personal experience, and what you've researched on whether I am right or wrong. If you refer me to another video, let it be your video and your research. Thank you for watching.